It's Thursday, November 30. In the headlines, MOU to be signed for Cool 97 FM's transfer. In business news, gas prices up by 25 cents. Regionally, Barbados says increased intra-regional trade vital. Internationally, Thai captives freed by Hamas return to Bangkok. And in sports, Reggae Girls plays to a 1-1 draw with Panama. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Violence against women and girls is one of the most widespread, persistent, and devastating human rights violations in our world today. The Spotlight Initiative in Jamaica is being implemented to address three key priority areas to combat this: child sexual abuse, intimate partner violence, and discrimination against vulnerable groups. This is being done in partnership with the Bureau of Gender Affairs through the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, with the support of the European Union. Director of the Bureau of Gender Affairs, Mrs. Sharon Coburn Robinson, shared some information on the initiative and other policies during Wednesday's International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, IDOVAR, banner event. She says it is all a part of the National Strategic Action Plan to eliminate gender-based violence.
In terms of the NSAP and why it is important for Spotlight to be in the room, we have worked on a strategy. It's a national shelter strategy, and we have broadened it so that it includes other persons who would want to create shelters or safe spaces in Jamaica. And this document is a guidance document that will allow any person who wants to do shelter management to be able to go to this document and read it and be a part of what is happening. So the experience is coordinated and harmonized across Jamaica. And so the minister will launch as well a comprehensive guideline for the operationalization of national shelters in Jamaica.
The event is part of the planned activities recognizing 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which started on November 25.
So this particular period I'm speaking about, that's the 16 days of activism, is very important because it allows us to work together and to ensure that we work around the theme. Every year you have a special theme. I've mentioned it, that this theme, that's a local theme, is from response to preparedness, eliminating gender-based violence in Jamaica. But there's a larger theme, that's the international theme, and that theme speaks to investing in women and girls to prevent violence. And that's one of the reasons we're so excited, because Spotlight invested in women and girls in Jamaica. And as far as I'm concerned, we are today speaking about the return on investment.
The banner event also featured a panel discussion with representatives from the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Bureau of Gender Affairs. Plans are afoot to transfer radio station Cool 97 FM to the premises of the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, the PBCJ. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for information, Robert Morgan, says a memorandum of understanding is to be signed between the Office of the Prime Minister and Airtel Limited to facilitate the transfer. He made the announcement while speaking at this week's sitting of the House of Representatives.
The consolidation of government communication to effect a more robust and responsive state apparatus is a key objective of the Prime Minister. The vision is a 360-degree information and communications machinery that works together as one entity with various departments and units executing major functions. It's joined up or cursive media instead of blocks and script that has defined the state landscape.
Minister Morgan says procurement is now taking place to acquire equipment and totally retool and modernize Cool FM.
We're currently renovating a space at the Public Broadcasting Corporation, and procurement is now taking place to acquire equipment to totally retool and modernize Cool FM. We anticipate that a physical move should be completed by the end of the financial year.
He says the arrangement will not disrupt the current culture of the radio station. Meanwhile, he said the cabinet is increasing its efforts to support communication and public relations departments through government ministries, departments, and agencies.
Through increased engagement, increased training, and providing a collaborative environment for information sharing and strategic direction.
Minister Morgan said the implementation of improvements identified through consultations will ensure that the government of Jamaica can create a robust, responsive, and innovative communication infrastructure, fostering transparency, public engagement, and trust. $400 million. That's the price tag on the lighting component of works along the road from Harborview, St. Andrew, to Yallas in St. Thomas. The National Work Agency, NWA, says in a release that the 17-kilometer stretch, which forms part of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Program, is being outfitted with some 400 light poles. It is executed in partnership with the Jamaica Public Service Company. Manager, Communication and Customer Services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, says the installation of the poles will be completed by the end of the year. According to Mr. Shaw, progress is also being made with the installation of traffic signals along the corridor. He says the corridor will also be outfitted with safety features, including road markings and signs, as well as corrective works to minor defects in some areas. The Harborview to Yallas leg of the Southern Coastal Highway project is being done at a cost of over $114 million. The road is being built as a 4-lane highway with several sections being realigned for safety and efficiency purposes. Minister of Labor and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. departed the island on Tuesday for Las Vegas, Nevada to attend the National Council of Agricultural Employers Forum. According to a media release from the ministry, it brings together key leaders in the agricultural employment and labor communities from across the United States and around the world. Attendees will delve into labor issues which face U.S. agricultural employers, such as recent litigation, farm and ranch operations, and compliance issues relative to agricultural employment. The forum will also feature discussions on agricultural labor safety, tax issues relative to agricultural employment, and many others. Time now for the Business Report with Danita Rodney.
Motorists will pay 25 cents more for gas when they go to the pumps on Thursday. State-owned oil refinery Petrojam says E1087 will sell for $171.35 per liter, while a liter of E1090 will go for $177.46. Meanwhile, down by $3.06, automotive diesel oil will sell for $175.10 per liter, and ultra-low sulfur diesel will sell for $182.48. The price of kerosene, down by $4.50, will sell for $185.53. In the meantime, propane cooking gas, down by 12 cents, will sell for $69.60, while butane, down by 42 cents, will sell for $77.60 per liter. Remember that retailers will add their markups to the announced prices. The Tourism Ministry says the country is now preparing for several new non-stop flights in December. Among the new services are non-stop flights between London and Montego Bay by new European airline North Atlantic Airways starting December 1, non-stop flights between Toronto and Montego Bay by Canadian Airline Jetlines starting December 9, and non-stop flights between Toronto and Kingston by Canadian Airline Flair starting December 16. The Tourism Ministry also says from December to November 29, preliminary figures indicate that there have been some 2.5 million stopover visitors to Jamaica. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, November 29, the US dollar sold for an average of $156.15. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $115.89. The pound sterling traded for $196.74, and the euro sold for $174.29. In JSE trading, the JSE index advanced by over 939 points. The junior market index declined by over 9 points. The combined market index advanced by over 793 points, and the all Jamaican composite index declined by over 193 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 108 stocks, of which 51 advanced, 41 declined, and 16 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Viable Preference, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, CAC 2000 Limited, and the Caribbean Cement Company Limited. Trading firm were AS Braden and Sons Holdings Limited, Consolidated Bakers Jamaica Limited, and Express Catering Limited. The overall volume leaders were Indus Pharma Jamaica Limited ordinary shares with over 48 million units, First Rock Real Estate Investments Limited USD with over 19 million units, and the One-on-One Educational Services Limited with over 3 million units. In regional stocks in Trinidad and Tobago, the Mutual Market Fund did not record any activity. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Goddard Enterprises Limited was the sole security trading over 1,000 shares. In regional business, 14 private sector companies from Trinidad and Tobago will be participating in a trade mission to Antigua and Barbuda.
The Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association is currently hosting a trade mission in Antigua and Barbuda for 14 private TNT companies. TTMA's Chief Executive Officer Ramesh Ramdeen told CNC3 Business Watch earlier today that the companies chosen comes from a wide cross-section of TNT.
Some of the sectors represented include printing and packaging, food and beverage, logistics, chemical, and a number of other sectors are participating as well. It's predominantly a trade mission for the SMEs in Trinidad and Tobago to allow for them to find market opportunities within the CARICOM market.
Some of the main exports from Trinidad and Tobago to Antigua and Barbuda include beverages, toilet paper, flour, cereals, tobacco, ice cream, tomato ketchup, and many other products. For the period 2020 to 2022, Trinidad and Tobago has been a net exporter to Antigua and Barbuda, with trade surpluses being recorded over the period.
In international business, Wall Street's main indexes ended mostly unchanged as robust economic data eased recession fears, but raised questions about how long the Federal Reserve would keep interest rates high.
The Dow closed nominally higher, the S&P 500 edged fractionally lower, and the Nasdaq, the session's biggest mover, shed just over 0.1%. Despite the quiet session, November has been a banner month for stocks, with the S&P 500 on track to notch its biggest monthly percentage gain since July of 2022. And a broader range of names have participated in the rally, notes Liz Miller, founder and president of Summit Place Financial Advisors, a notable difference from earlier in the year when the so-called Magnificent Seven megacaps carried the day.
What strikes me when I look across the whole market is that, the mega caps today have been pretty flat. That's where we're actually seeing consolidation. And it's sort of that second tier stock that we're seeing some strength in. And that's a very good sign for this market at this point in the year, because we've really been waiting for the rest of the market to move forward and catch up with those mega caps. So on a quiet day, I think it's a pretty positive move.
She points to Nike, up 1.5%, as being one of those second-tier stock gainers on Wednesday. Among those megacaps, Microsoft shed 1%, while Apple and Amazon each lost 0.5%. Among other movers, shares of Salesforce, up about 2.5% at the close, gained another 7% in after-hours trading after it forecast fourth-quarter revenue and profit above Wall Street's expectations. Shares of Humana and Cigna Group were down 5.5% and 8% respectively, after a source familiar with the matter said the health insurers are in talks to merge. And General Motors shares jumped more than 9% after the automaker announced a $10 billion share buyback and a 33% dividend boost. Ford shares gained 2%. Earlier in the session, the Commerce Department revised an already strong initial estimate on third quarter GDP from 4.9% upward to 5.2%, which underscored U.S. economic resilience, but also appeared to give the Fed little reason to start cutting interest rates in the near future, as long as inflation remains above the central bank's 2% target. Investors now turn to Thursday's crucial personal consumption expenditure inflation report for more clues about the future path of the Fed's monetary policy.
In market data for oil prices rose on Thursday as investors awaited the outcome of an OPEC Plus meeting with potential further supply cuts on the agenda. Brent crude futures gained 65 cents to $83.75 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose by 55 cents to $78.41. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Denita Rodney.
In regional news, in Barbados, significantly increasing the trade of goods and services among regional countries is the key to survival of Barbados and other CARICOM states. This from Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Business Development, Sandra Husbands, as she addressed the start of the CARICHAM multi-sectorial trade mission to Barbados. Trevor Thorpe reports.
The minister praised the initiative and emphasized the importance for the Caribbean nations to trade among themselves. She said governments are working on procurements, but the success of the region is in our hands, but we must work together if it is to come to fruition.
Otherwise, we will strand the investments of people and the region will be poor as a result of that. And that's why it's so important that both manufacturers, service providers, and importers work together across the region to provide the opportunity for us to really build economic development that in the end will help all of us. This is that job. And this is why presence here of CARICHAM, I cannot salute you enough for it.
President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, James Clark, said the CARICHAM multi-sectoral mission to Barbados was a significant milestone in their collective journey towards regional integration and cooperation.
Barbados is a land of opportunity, a place where entrepreneurship and innovation thrive. Our economy is diverse and resilient with a strong focus on tourism, services, and manufacturing. We are also committed to sustainable development and are embracing new technologies that can drive economic growth. Barbados boasts a favorable business climate supported by key strengths. The country's long-standing political stability, rooted in democratic governance, offers businesses a predictable and secure operating environment. Barbados also possesses a robust legal framework aligned with international standards, which safeguards the rights of investors and businesses.
For Martinique and other French Caribbean partners, the trade mission is timely, and leader of the Interreg SBC project from the Martinique Chamber of Commerce, Stephanie Poujard, told the gathering the meeting will serve to reinforce the network of Caribbean business.
The SBC project was the first part of the first step toward a greater business cooperation within the region. We look forward to keep on working toward this goal with our esteemed partners. And we are glad to be here also to meet with representative partners, institutions here in Barbados. We will be available, Mr. Populo and myself, to meet everyone and to also present the services offered by the Martinique Chamber of Commerce and Industry in terms of exportation.
The mission also received a presentation on the role of the Caribbean single market and economy during the roundtable discussion. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
In Trinidad and Tobago, Chairman of the Paria Commission of Inquiry, Jerome Lynch KC, has called on the government to ensure the completed report is made public. More in this report.
This was no act of God or mere unlucky accident.
After several delays, a 380-page report into the Paria Commission of Inquiry has been completed and will be delivered to President Christine Kangaloo on Thursday. Commission of Inquiry Chairman Jerome Lynch Casey recalled that this was brought about by public pressure to get the truth of the incident that occurred on February 25, 2022, and prevent any future injuries or deaths. He said although the Commission is only obliged to present the report to the President and government, he insisted that it be made public.
This is a public inquiry using public money, involving fatalities.
Mr. Lynch did not reveal any contents of the report, but was critical of the treatment of the victims' families.
For all the money that has been expended on the process so far, much more is almost certain to be spent before the families will see a single dime or dollar in compensation.
The Commission of Inquiry, he said, cost a total of $15.5 million and took approximately 16 months from his appointment, but he said the cost was a drop in the bucket compared to other commissions of inquiry. Mr. Lynch assured that the inquiry was independent and rejected any claims of interference, noting that the Commission stands by its report.
It will not sit well with everybody. There may be those who will be disappointed. There may be those who will be outraged, and there may be those who will wish to challenge it.
He said he's confident the truth is contained in the report and that government will make the report public, but he said the law does not permit for selective distribution.
All they can do is to give it to everybody or nobody.
On February 25, 2022, divers Rishi Nagisa, Kazim Ali Jr., Faisal Kurban, Yusuf Henry, and Christopher Budram were doing maintenance work on a 30-inch underwater pipeline at Paria's Berth 6 when they were suddenly sucked into the pipeline. Only Budram survived. Sonolala, TTT News.
In Grenada, in fulfilling its mandate to strengthen environmental stewardship across the region, the Sandals Foundation has partnered with local marine NGO Ocean Spirits for turtle conservation, research and outreach.
Grenada is home to one of the region's key nesting sites for the endangered leatherback sea turtles at Livera Beach, which has become a sanctuary in the north of the island. This species produces over 100 eggs during the nesting season. To raise awareness, Sandals Grenada Resort has partnered with Ocean Spirits to provide support in monitoring the activities of the leatherback and hawksbill sea turtles throughout the nesting season. Dillian Forrester is the public relations manager at Sandals Grenada Resort.
We provided financial backing to Ocean Spirits to reach the community, the direct community in the area of Livera, of the community, fishermen, just engaging as many persons as possible who live within the space, and of course all of us who inhabit an island, just to raise awareness and keep track so that we can gather that data to guide us on what we can do to continue to support the organization and biodiversity and the health of our environment that we rely on.
Kate Charles, a marine biologist attached to Ocean Spirits, believes that the leatherback and hawksbill turtles are critically endangered.
Yes, so both leatherbacks and hawksbill turtles and also greens are found here in Grenada. And all three are on the ICUN red list. So all three are considered endangered at varying levels. So you have leatherbacks, which are considered vulnerable. You have greens, which are considered endangered. And then you have hawksbills, which we should be most concerned about because they're considered critically endangered at the moment. Sure. So we have sort of three main pillars that we work under. So we have research, conservation, and then our outreach. So a lot of our time is spent doing research. So we're collecting the vital data to assess populations, and then we can share this within the local communities. A lot of our community work that we do is based at sort of with kids, whether it's just within communities or working with local schools. We have environmental science clubs. We have summer camp programs. We run Marine Junior Ranger programs, and then we have sort of awareness days, or we'll invite a school to visit the beach at night as part of their learning process. So we don't believe in just staying in the classroom. A lot of our work is getting kids out into the field.
In international news, 17 Thai nationals have arrived home in Bangkok after being freed in Gaza, where Hamas held them for weeks. 19 Thais captured on October 7 has been released so far. However, the government says another 13 nationals are still being held in Gaza. It also says 39 of its nationals were killed in the attack by Hamas. Al Jazeera's Jessica Washington reports.
That's exactly right. They just passed through this corridor behind me only a few seconds ago, many of them waving, smiling at Al Jazeera's cameras. Certainly you could sense that they were feeling extremely relieved. They had broad smiles as they walked through. Now there is a press conference, and I'll just talk you through what has been said. The Thai Prime Minister delivered a message directly to them. He asked how they're doing, and one of the hostages said that, one of the captors rather, said that they are doing well and that they are pleased to know that they've had this moral support throughout the time that they have been in captivity. Another one also said that they weren't treated in a bad way, as he described conditions of the detention during their time as being held captive by Hamas. But of course, the Thai government has reiterated that it believes 9 Thai nationals remain in captivity, detained by Hamas. So that is their priority at this stage. And they have also asked the media not to ask too many questions of the released captives, noting that, of course, they must be exhausted after what they have been through these past few weeks. We've also met with some of the relatives who've been waiting at Bangkok's main airport to welcome their loved ones back home. One mother said that she traveled 4 to 5 hours on a bus just to be here to greet her son, who she has missed so dearly, and she has been so worried about them. Others that we've been speaking to say that they are waiting for their loved ones to return to the provinces, to their hometowns. They are preparing festivities for their loved ones as they celebrate an outcome which they feared may have never happened.
In sports, Jamaica's Reggae Girls missed out on an automatic qualification for next year's inaugural CONCACAF Women's Gold Cup after a 1-1 draw with Panama at the National Stadium on Wednesday. The girls are without a victory after 3 games in Group B of the Gold Cup qualifiers. The 1-1 draw leaves Jamaica on 2 points from 3 games and bottom of the 3-team table, behind leaders Panama on 7 and Guatemala on 4. And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. And remember, we are the People's Station.